Good morning, YouTube. This video was taken on the 25th, which was yesterday. Today's the 26th of October. It was taken on the 25th of October, about noontime or so. I was sitting in my hay barn, trying to get away from the glare of the sun on the monitor so I could see what I was looking at. Now I've changed the color. I've turned the contrast up a bit, turned the brightness down, of course. That way you could see the movements of the so-called chemtrail, if you want to call it that. I'm going to go ahead and just call it oxide dust, because that's what it is. Now here you can see a planet, okay, and then you can see the oxide dust swirl around the planet, and these are little moon areas, okay. They're basically everywhere. If you see the little the little shadowy circles, those are little tiny moons. This is a bigger moon. This is a huge moon here, okay. Now what I've observed is the planets, they literally go from big to small, okay. I mean, literally in that size. You know, this system's been traveling for thousands and thousands of years. So everything is in order, per se, you know, to the system. You know, so we'll just start from there. This right here is a planet. Okay, of course you can see the oxide dust. You can see this right here, it makes a V sort of. Okay, now there's planets that are traveling inside this. That's their planet, their travel area, and this is their travel area as well in this particular scene here. You can see, you know, a making of a large planet body here, with the little moons here, okay. And I'm hoping you guys can see this a little bit clearer than what I could, it being, you know, the regular pixel, because it was just really, really bright yesterday, you know, which made the screen, when I recorded it, really, really, you know, it seemed like the contrast was low, and the brightness was just fairly high. So, okay, now you can see almost like a tornado vortex here, okay, right here. Now these are the planets, of course, on top, little moons, or however you're saying it, are swirling around this area. Here's a moon, here's a bigger moon, here's another moon that's coming into view. Okay, they're everywhere. There's a moon here, a little tiny one, here's another one. Now these, a bigger moon here, okay. These are small moons here, and they're actually traveling from left to right. Now what I've observed with this system, since I've been recording it, is, you know, it's half and half. Half moves left and half moves right, literally. You know, the blurrish, you know, like this right here, you see this white area here. This is because, you know, this massive object that's entangled into this is hitting, you know, thousands of things at this time. Thousands of things, and it's creating that dust forming around the objects that it's hitting, of course, okay. Now you can see here, you can see a moon. You know, if you think left to right, right to left, you're going to have several objects come into play. This here in the right is actually moving left, and this on the left is actually going right. You can see from this area to this area here, it's actually closing into each other, okay. Now I'm already 4 minutes into this video, so there's not too much more that you'll see. I will follow a planetary body, a moon per se, because I don't know what's planets, what's moons. I'm just going on size. The three primary planets that I viewed on the 24th and 25th, and assuming I'm going to go out today and see it again, it should be in the same area, which is about 60 degrees off from the sun. If you look out about noontime and you look at the sun, you'll notice that it's falling in to the southeastern sky, okay, which is accurate on the time of the season. You know, so you'll turn around once you see this. You're looking at the sun. Of course, don't do that. You know, cover your eyes. You hurt your sight with that. But shield yourself, and then turn around and count 60 degrees towards due west, and you're going to run right into the system. I mean, it's there. This system is definitely upon us at this moment in time. Everything, you know, if you go outside and you don't see a lot of chem spraying, thin line, real pencil thin lines going across the sky, then start looking, because, you know, for a long time I believed the thick dust particles that flew across the sky, I thought it was the government for a long time, until I noticed, you know, at one particular moment, you know, that thick dust, there was nothing there in front of it to make it. And if you really just, you know, pay attention, you see this large planet right here, large planet, and you can see the little moons right here. Okay, you can see a bigger moon right here. Okay, now they're actually going to start appearing, and I don't mean to get off subject, but I want to show you this, okay? They're going to actually start appearing. See, there's going to be one right here. There's going to be a bigger one right here that's going to appear. Okay, and I mean, there's one right here that's starting to appear itself. If the focus will come into play. Okay, and there's several moons right here. Okay, several. And there's little tiny ones here, you know, little bigger ones here. Okay, now there's a large one here. Okay, now I say large, you know, and I don't use massive because, you know, the massive ones that I've seen, you can see the crater rocks on top of them, and they're black. I mean, they are rocks that are embedded into these planets, and they're all over the primary planets that I've observed. You know, basically just like this here. See this huge area right here? You can see the black craters in them. I mean, and I don't want to say crater, because, you know, a crater is you know, meant to be a mark, a hole into the planet. These are massive moons. See, you can see this large planetary object right here. Okay, it's large. I mean, this thing is large. You know, but these are, I mean, what it looked like to me were rocks, large boulders thrown into the planet and stuck there. You know, so they'd be it'd be pointy. You know, like if you were to look into the ocean and, you know, look at a rock that has, you know, the algae and the fungus grown on it, okay, it would look, these planets would resemble something as to that. You know, so now, you know, these planets, they come in and out. I mean, it seems strange, but you'll make a complete planet out full 1 second, you know, and then before you know it, there is another one in front of it, or another one behind it, or, you know, I mean, it literally is, you know, it changes constantly. Okay, now as far as the planets, the 3 large planets that I observed on the 24th and 25th, and I'm assuming I'll go out today and I'll see it here in about a half hour, as if you follow what I said, you'll find it as well. I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. But those large planets, they are still in the same location. They may be going off to the north of my area just slightly. I did notice that it had moved slightly to the north. That might be why I'm only seeing it every 26, 27 hours. But today's the 3rd day. I still have you know, cloud cover, like a misty contrail cover here. You know, so I'm taking it as it's still here. You know, I'm still able to view it. And if I'm still able to view it, this could be the last step before, you know, the whole world is actually knocked into chaos and things like that. And I hope I'm wrong. I don't wish this upon anybody. You know, I mean, I want to just move on with my everyday life, raise my son, love my wife, be a family man, You know, work on my farm here. I mean, just you know, stay within my realm. You know, but I've got a feeling, you know, we're actually in that time. But I'll continue here. This area right here, you can see the planetary. You know, if you were to say this was a planet, okay, let's say it was this area right here, okay, and the rest of it was just not viewable at this time, okay. Now the planets that I viewed, the large ones, the 3 large ones, see the top areas here where they poke out and they're, you know, they look like, per se, if they were rocks stuck into a planet, you know what I mean? That is how these planets are. I'll tell you that right now. I've had, you know, up close personal look at them twice, you know, and altogether about a half hour, you know, and it was enough to drive me mentally unstable, you know, and I can imagine what it's going to do to everybody else when they see it too. Okay, so just imagine this being a planet here, and these were rocks. Okay, now these rocks were stuck into the planet and they're black. Okay, so imagine these all the way around the planet, and this planet, I mean, these planets are massive. If I were to hold, I'm trying to think here, a 44-ounce cup up to into the sky, the largest angle as your sipping rim of a 44-ounce cup, that would be the size of each of these planets. If you were to put it up, you know, poke a hole in it, put it up into the sky, and look through the bottom of that cup, that 44-ounce cup, that the widest angle of that circular rim would be the size of each of those planets, and they're right next to each other. Okay, now what has me worried is each one of those, it really goes from big to small. I mean, in order too. I mean, big, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller, all the way down to very, very minute, very small, you know, just very, very small, you know, and all those small moons are going everywhere, and even the bigger ones, you know. In the beginning, I thought of it as a hand, because if you were to get ready and throw a ball but not throw the ball, you would hold your palm up into the sky, you know, or face up, your palm face up, and you were clinging onto that ball, and your fingers, the way your fingers wrapped around that ball would resemble the cloud that's holding that planet. Okay, now the reason for you're seeing it like that, or you will see it like that, is because around that planet there are smaller moons and debris that are going around that slower planet, because the velocity is it's different. It's at a a higher rate of speed. The smaller is of the larger object. It's moving slower, so naturally it's the debris is going to go around that object until it does it again and again, and it's a repeatable offense, I guess you could say. So as I said before, if you look up in the sky and you see something that's circular, okay, and you tell yourself, man, I've seen that circular object, and then boom, you look up again and it's gone, don't doubt yourself, because that's exactly what's happening here. You'll see a large object, okay, like this right here, see? Here's this, there's several moving here. Okay, there's smaller ones in front of this. There's a large one about the same size as that one here, okay? And now these are moving towards the left, or towards the right of the screen, okay? Now these right here in front of it, of course, are moving left. That's why it looks like it's going so fast, alright? So, you can see this right here. You can see that. Each one of these is a planet or a moon. I don't know what is what, okay? And I really don't care. I'm just trying to get this observation to you. Okay, now, here's one. Okay, now, most of the time, really right now for me as viewing, I'll see little tiny ones like this. See, you can see it wrap around. See, now this is moving. You can see almost in a swirl pattern. Okay, and they do. They'll have a 360 spin really slowly about them. Some of them do. And if you see that, it's because there's a larger object inside that, and those smaller objects are entwined with that larger one, and they're dancing. It's moving around in its own orbital path. You know, it's a northwest orbital path. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and go to. I've got so many. I'm going to go ahead and go to another one of these videos here. I'm going to go ahead and just play this for a moment. Okay, now this is the same area that I looked at on the 24th. Now this is the 25th, okay? Now this is the same area. Over here would be the same, all this is the same area. Okay, now I'm going to pause it here, okay? That way I can explain to you what's going to happen here. Now, these areas here, these dark areas, okay, now this could be used as a planet. It could be a larger planet, and then a smaller one here and here, okay. Now, this right here, this real creamish color here, very well could be a larger planet as well. And like I told you, I can see it in the background, I mean, but I've seen it 2 times in a row. Now you're going to see like right here, you can see it sort of, you know, sort of right here. But watch the ripples. They're like water ripples. They're real deep. You can see these real thin ones that are starting. I mean, but look, watch the real thick ripples. I mean, and on the other side of those real thick ripples is the planets. I mean, no joke. See right here, all of this is a planet. I mean, this whole thing, this whole deal. And if you really look right here, you can see from here down is another one behind this area. You can see another one that's either the same size or larger. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and just play it. That way we can get it just a little bit more into it. Now I'll wait until this mesquite tree passes. I mean, you can see it. You really can. How large it is. You know, I'll back it up and play it again. Right here, see, now you can make the border out of it. And this is really how big they are. I'm not even kidding. I mean, it blew me away. I didn't know that they were this close to us. Literally, you know, starting from here down. You know, if I slowed it down, which I think I can actually, I'll let you look to see, you know, look at that. Look how massive it is in the sky, and the boulders, the rocky look. And you can see this planet and the trail from that planet, you know, going its own direction. Now the sandy look, this is the sandy look that I've been seeing for the past year. You look at these little rocks here, and the bigger ones here, and you know, this one's still going in that direction. And you can see little tiny planets right there, and little tiny, you know, itty bitty moon there, you know, here and here and here. I mean, you can see them everywhere, guys. And these right here is the oxide dust, iron oxide dust that follows these, each one of these. Okay, it's like a sandy look. And I'll tell you what, the government did perfect, because 20, you know, 30, 40, 50 years ago, when they were looking through their telescopes, they knew what it would look like in our skies. They knew that. So they got the chemicals, all the chemicals prepared, and they started spraying the skies in the 90s. And they conditioned us for it. And I'm telling you, you guys think you're seeing a chemtrail and it's real thick. It's not a thin one. That's what it is. I mean, you know, so you can see that. Look at that. Look at the planet right there. That's all that huge circle right there. That's all a planet, man. Every bit of that. Every bit of that right there. Every bit of that. Okay? Now I've slowed it down, and I guess I'll keep it slowed, because I want you guys to see the ripples that come off of this one in the middle. Literally, you know, look at all this right here. Look at all that. I mean, it blew me away. Can't see now? You can start seeing the ripples form. Look at that. Look how deep that ripple is. Look at that. See that right there? And this, I mean, look at these. Look at that. I mean, I'm just going to let you watch it, because I'll tell you what, it about floored me. Look at these deep ripples that are showing up right here. Real thick. You know, I mean, I'm at awe still. Look at those. Look at the deep one right here. And I'll show you a real deep one here. But these are just rocks, and these three are massive. There's three of them that are sitting right side by side, and they're massive. Look at that. Look how that ripples like that. Look at this. You know, it reminds me of a, you know, up high in the sky, maybe on like Google Earth or something, you know, and looking down at a volcano, you know, where the sharpness, you know, the sharpness looking at a mountain, you know what I mean? Right here, see, look at the ripples in that, and the ripples in this. All this, I mean, and when I seen this, when I observed it, the degrees, I mean, I believe it was somewhere around 77, 78 degrees. But when I started viewing this, I had a cold front instantly, and it lowered a good 15 degrees instantly. I mean, instantaneous. So, you know, and this was a clear sky. This was a clear blue sky. All of this is the system. It's oxide dust. See, you can see a planet here. Every now and then you'll see a cloud that's moving the opposite way. Those are little planets on their orbit. You know, they're going their own way. They're, you know, doing their own thing. But nothing. And I mean, the bigger planet in the background is the only thing that's going to change these three. And I'm assuming it's accurate. There's 8 of these. One day, I believe it was in September last month, I viewed 5 of them, and they were about this large, a little bit smaller. But see, remember, when you see a circular object, it's not going to stay all day long like that. You may have 10, 15, 20 seconds to view that circular object, but then it's going to be gone. You may see something smaller, you know, and hopefully you don't see anything bigger than that, you know, but you've only got a window of opportunity to see that. Now these planets, the 3 massive ones that I've seen the last 2 days, I was able to view them for probably, I mean, you can see the video goes on for 3 or 4 minutes, okay? But clearly, on the 24th, I was able to see it. If you were to look up into that area and just know, whoa, this is what's going on, I was able to look at it for a good 2 minutes. Now, that's what tells me that it's not long for the world to say, wow, that cold breeze is weird, and then to look up and to see that circular object or objects as I've seen, and that's all it's going to take. You know, literally, that's all it's going to take is, you know, more people looking up and going, wow, you know, because the cold, it's going to get cold fast. Within a minute, I mean, seconds. Within seconds, it's going to get cold. And I can see how, you know, back in, you know, a couple thousand years ago, why they have mammoth that still have not digested the food. 25, you know, 3,500 years ago, they still have that food inside of them. You know, why they're able to extract from the bees still, you know, thousands of years ago to now. You know, they're still able to do things like that. Is because when these planets came close to us, the temperature dropped so fast, and I can see it. It was an erratic change in temperature, very, very sudden, and that's how this is going to be, and it's going to be that for everybody. There's, you know, you're not, I mean, unless you're in the ground, you're not going to have to worry about the 10,000 mile an hour wind that's going to hit once it pops our moon, you know, into shamble. We're not going to have to worry about that because everybody's going to freeze right where they're standing. You know, nobody's going to feel a thing. And I know that. I know that for a fact because for the last 2 days on viewing this object, the temperature has dropped dramatically once I've been able to see it, once it's come out into view and made this real sharp bevel, you know, almost like a wave effect, veins, think of them as veins, you know. Once I seen that, boom, the chill just, you know, the 15 degrees dropped, you know, and then of course it warmed up significantly after the fact. You know, it went back up to 78, 80 degrees. There was probably a brief 10 minutes that it felt almost like winter was upon us, you know. So, you know, think of this as looking at the moon, you know, seeing this as the moon right here. This, you can see the lip that comes off of this. I'll go ahead and see full screen it. You see the lip, you know, that comes off of this. The white that's covering it. Just think of this as a really rocky surface, the moon. Exactly, you know. And now I mean, I was just floored. I just cannot believe, you know, I have a video, I believe it was June 2nd. I captured a fiery object, which I thought to be NIBIRU, the winged planet, over in the due west sky, okay, back in June. I'm actually going to go out and take some recording today, because the movements are left to right, right to left. I don't want to miss anything. It's not too terribly clear, but see right here you can see that it's all misted up and dusted out, and I mean an average person, and you know, anybody, an average person would think, alright, cool, you know, it's government's been chemming. This is just a huge chemtrail, okay, a huge chemming. How'd you guys say it on the page yesterday? It was drifting, chem drifting, okay. And you know, you guys, I want you guys to understand what is happening here. You know, I hate to tell you guys I know, because I do know. I don't want to sound selfish. You know, I want to sound bold because I've been studying this for over, you know, or viewing this for over a year. I've got multiple videos of it from a distance to right up close and personal. So I've been watching it, you know, and for somebody that, you know, per se like my wife, she doesn't study it, she doesn't want to know anything about it, which is fine, and that's okay. But for the people that are, you know, completely new, for you to walk outside and to look at it, sure, you would say, okay, it's just, you know, chemtrail drifting. The wind's hitting it, a certain angle, it's going to just skirt the sky in a real thin paste, okay? But what's happening is if you look at just one cloud, okay, that you think is moving strangely, or you see a cloud, you look up in the sky and you see a cloud going left or right, and then on the other side you see a cloud going left, and they're going right for each other, get a camera on it. You know, zoom up into it. You'll see that there are moons in each one of these. So, again, if you were to look up in the sky, somebody that hasn't been studying this for very long, or maybe you've been studying the research base of it for however many years, okay, and you have looked up in the sky for the last 20 years and seen a chemtrail, okay, for somebody that has in that state that goes and they look up, they're naturally going to say what most have said on the site. It's a chemdrift. Okay, there's nothing unusual about it. You know, some may be thicker and darker than others. Okay, I can understand that, but there's things that you have to look for. You have to look for the left and right motion. You have to look for that circular path that each object takes, because each of them go in a circular pattern. It may not be visible to you in that spectrum, okay, but if you take a camera and you put it on a tripod and you put it up at a certain part of the sky and you leave that going, and you go back an hour later and then you take it and you put it in your computer and you put it on like ×2 or ×3. Okay, and you see that movement as a ×3 pattern, you're gonna see all the vortex it makes and the rotation that it makes it goes. You know, you're gonna be able to see that. But see, now with me, with a person in my situation, have been viewing it for over a year, you know, has seen the system come in from the background into now the rotations and the speed change over time. You know, I can see all of it because I'm used to it, you know, and I don't want to stretch this as much as it seems like I am, but it's like riding a bike. You know, the more times you ride the bike, eventually you take the training wheels off and you're fine. You feel confident enough you can, you know, ride that straight line. Driving a car, the more you drive, learn how to drive, eventually you're going to get behind the wheel and you're going to do it as not even thinking about it. It's just going to become natural. Now this is what this has become for me, is a natural occurrence, okay? So things that I look at naturally, you know, you would look at it and say, oh no, you know, the guy, he's on an acid trip, or, you know, this guy's really truly freaking out, he's lost his marbles, you know. So before you know, you go out and you make those remarks to me, I'd like you at least to go out, sit down, look up, and pick a part of the sky that just, you know, is either moving, has a weird movement to it. Just go out and look. Go out and watch it, because now you don't need a camera. Now you're able to actually look and say, wow, look at that. You know, I see that circular motion. I see what music player's talking about. That is definitely strange, you know. You're going to see it. There's no need for a camera anymore, because it's definitely up close and personal. Guys, I've been doing this for a while. I've given my life and my dedication on the side of being a father and a family man, you know, to do this. And I do. I give every moment, that extra moment that I have into this. And I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be giving so much time if it wasn't real. I'm definitely dedicated into showing the world on what's about to happen. Patty Brassard, a good gentleman on YouTube, Back to Constitution, very good man, a very kind, knowledgeable man, good, very good with words too. He spoke about her in a video of his. Now, her, what she's got to say is accurate. Okay, it is very, very accurate. There are 8 bodies. They do encompass a major body, okay, which I'm assuming is the hidden star. Now, however you believe, whichever prophetic story you want to believe, it doesn't matter to me, okay? You can do the blue and red Kachina, okay? Or you could do the Hellbringer, Wormwood, however, you know, Hercolobus, you know, Tai Chi. I mean, however you want to believe in it is your deal, okay? But I'm going to tell you, there is a hidden planet that I cannot see. I thought I've seen it a couple different times, but it's doubtful.
Look at the bed.
Here in a minute, I'm almost done.
Bed mess up.
Oh, that's fine, go. That's fine. Daddy's almost done, okay? Okay? Hey, you be nice to them cats.
We be nice, making blue tiny bed.
Okay, okay, okay. Now, whatever story you guys believe, okay, it doesn't matter to me. I have not come to the conclusion of believing anything but there are planets on their way, okay? And they are big, and they are going to change our life. Now, if you believe in the blue and red Kachina, the blue Kachina is meant for a sign of danger of the red one, because the red one is the one that comes and burns everything. Okay, this one, if it were to be the blue and red Kachina, this one is only going to go past us. Okay, we're going to see this as a sign of things to come. That could be. It could very well be. Okay. I mean, the Hopis, they talked about it. You know, the Mayans, they had, you know, 1,000 years completely on time tables. You know, they kept time like you wouldn't believe. You know, the very last will, the Baktun, I mean, that is, it's a major will, you know, of time. And it reset last year. Okay, so, I mean, to be a year off is not so bad. But for all I know, I've been watching this since, you know, really dedicated to it since April of this year. But I caught it October of last year, if you see in my video. October of last year, I caught the winged planet, clearly. Okay? Make no mistake about it. That's exactly what it was. You know, so, you know, a year ago it could have been the starting of, you know, people on, you know, our civilization being able to view it and its existence and closing to us. Now look at these real soft clouds, these real tiny, minute clouds. This happened literally right before I seen the planets. Literally, these really, really thin, small, puffy-looking clouds. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you, each one of these is from the system. Every single one of them. There may be, like this right here, may be, you know, vapor, you know, from water. It could be created from that, okay? But most likely, guys, all of this is created from the system, and we are seeing this because it's literally, it's coming down upon us. Right here you can see, okay? You can see the trail. You can see, I mean, you know, I'll just let you guys see the trail that is being led from those. There's hundreds of trails here as well. I'll go ahead and just let it play out. Let you guys look at it. There's really no volume. Let me get some volume to it. There's really nothing said to it. Now, at one point, I thought I was going to see the planet again. I don't know if this is the video, but it actually shows, you can see the hole open up, you know, for the viewing of a bigger object behind. Now you can see here, you know, there's a slight circular object here. You can see the trail behind it. You see the little tiny moons here, if it would focus in, of course. My camera, I could never figure it out, that damn autofocus. It's probably one of my settings off wrong or something. And you can see the lines here, you know, coming down, and there's a whole bunch of little tiny rocks, planets that are leading this. Now, there are a couple of massive objects moving that never change, of course. The boulder-like object. It's massive. It looks like a frickin' planet, but it's a boulder. Clearly. It resembled, to me, the first time I seen it, I seen the devil and Jesus in it, you know, inside that area. And let me see, the first time I recorded it would have been, shoot, August? No, let me see here. It would have been July when I first recorded it. Very small, but I could see it incoming. And then in September 9th, I seen it again, and the 11th. And then it really just hit home when I recorded it last month, off in the southwestern sky, going north. You know, and the government had the planes going over that area, pencil drawing over that area, and I couldn't believe it. It about floored me. Of course, I've been floored on every single event that I've recorded. You know, but it's definitely eerie. It definitely is eerie. I'm just going to go ahead and just fast forward it through these spots here. In fact, I probably want you guys to see this right here. Okay, now you guys can see I can see a circular object right here, a big one, okay? You guys can see the way the oxide starting to roll over the bottom of it to the top, okay? You can see a bigger planet. Oh, if the focus would work, you can see a little bit bigger of a moon, and then, you know, the oxide going around it, okay? But that's just one part of that whole big deal here, okay? There's one here. There's tiny ones here, okay? And the oxide making its trail from smaller ones going around it, okay? You can see a bigger one here. Something is crashed into it, or is crashing into it as I'm filming. This big area here, you can see the trail, okay? You can see a bigger one here, okay? You can see the trail here. Maybe this big planet has come from this area down, or it's going up following a bigger object, okay? So you can see a bigger object here. You just really have to look for a moment and you know, just tell yourself that, okay, these are planetary objects. Let's see what we can't do with these clouds. Let's make them into, you know, planetary objects if we have to, for you to see it, you know? Tell yourself that. They're planetary objects. Okay, let's see what we can't see. Okay, there's a moon here. It's travel, oxide dust coming up, rolling up above these other smaller moon planets, however you want to see it, okay? And there's a small one here. There's still the big one here, okay? And we're going to go ahead and watch it. And they're all entangled inside of that field area there. I mean, they're just whipping around. You can see the top of one right here. And literally, like I said, if you see something, I don't know if I unpause this. I gotta double check myself now. If you see a circular object and you say, oh man, you know, I swear I just seen a circular object. Well, you did. Because they change. The foreground and the background change so much. It's hard to, you know, a person for the first time would say, no, I didn't see that. You know, and you're going to go through what I went through. Man, you know, I didn't see all that. My eyes are playing tricks. I'll go to bed and I'll wake up and I'll see if I can see it tomorrow. And see, that's the biggest thing is people say, okay, well, if you can see it today, why can't you see it tomorrow? And I believe that it has a very, very small north rotation. Like today, I believe that the northern part of the hemisphere can see this. I believe that, okay? I believe that whomever's in the northern hemisphere, you know, above, you know, I'm saying that wrong because we're in the northern hemisphere. I mean, you know, Kansas, you know, Colorado, Alaska, you know, those places up there should be able to see this for 2 or 3 days. That's how it was, though, you know, and after the 2 or 3 days is done, we should see it again, and then so on. It passes back and forth. Or the southern hemisphere should see it for 3 days, the northern hemisphere see it for 3 days, and so on. You know what I mean? But don't get me drawn into that because I've never really got an accurate pick on this, you know, what exactly the system is doing. So that's one thing I'm still stumped on. But it is within that 3-day hold time. There'll be, you know, 2 or 3 days of just beautiful clear skies, and then boom, you know, that third day it's there. Sometimes it hits at night, day. I mean, it really doesn't matter. but you can definitely tell when it's coming, because for the simple fact is you'll start seeing the straight lines, the straight clouds, you know, that resemble like a blade. You'll see it look like a tree branch, you know, and the reason for the tree branch look, like I seen yesterday, man, I couldn't believe it. And the area where the planets were, those tree branches were just coming out from that area. And it floored me, you know, because I've been looking at it for so long. You know, I used to call it an olive branch, because you could see the planetary objects resembling olives, of course, inside the branches. They look like dead branches, you know, veins, per se, as I showed you here just a little bit ago. You know, but that's how you can tell. You can also tell if, you know, if you're looking at the clouds and they're turning in a certain area. You know, like a couple nights ago, me and the wife were walking into town, and we noticed that the clouds were turning in a certain area. And I told the wife, that's the system. You know, the system is choosing wherever, you know, where the moon was in that particular area at that time. They were turning right at the moon, you know, where the moon was in the sky, not just because the moon is right there, you know, but they were turning and making that sharp north turn right there. And my wife made the comment, wow, that is strange. And I said, yeah, that's the system. It's turning in that particular area because that's the edge of it. That happens to be the edge of that space, you know, in that particular movement. You know, here you'll see, I'm just playing a video. It's a short one, apparently. You know, but these, I can see moons all over this. Little patch areas. Okay? I mean, to me, these are just little tiny frickin' rocks that are being pushed, and you can see bigger objects right there, see? You can see the circular objects here, and the smaller one that's behind it, and even smaller one, and maybe a big one here. I mean, these right here are objects, I'll tell you that right now, okay? And there's a smaller moon here. There may be a larger one here, but you can make them out. There's one here, there's one here, 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 here. They're everywhere, guys. Here, here. There's thousands and thousands of them. Okay? Literally, there's thousands of them. I mean, look at that right here. Look at that. Look at all these down here. And they go from big to small. Just like that. Big to small. Look at these right here. And you can see the movements on them as well if you just watch them. Like as I said before, just go outside. You know, take a look. Look at one particular cloud that you think is a chemtrail. Go out and look at that for a while. Look at it twist and turn and you know, do all crazy shit. Okay, now let's see if I can. I'll just go ahead and play it. But this is how clear the blue was in the sky. Completely clear, and then you got these clouds showing up right here out of the middle of nowhere, and they're doing their own thing like that right there. Okay, these are planets, guys. Look at the black areas, the dark areas here. Okay, these are planets going through that, but it resembles our blue sky. It really does. You have to look at the outer part of it. Look at the movement. Some of them will literally cut all the way through the cloud. You know, as scissors would paper. I mean, literally. So, I mean, we're definitely conditioned. Definitely. The government has definitely conditioned us. So, I don't know how much more I can tell you guys. I'm going to go ahead and just give up. Another thing before I stop. I want you guys to start paying attention to the darkness, the shadow effect. Okay, that's happening right above us. Okay, directly above us. In the background, it's really, really light. Okay, but above us is very dark. It's a very dark blue. Okay, when the system is here, of course. Okay, it's a very, very dark blue. It used to be when they started it, and I remember, it used to be a misty blue, all of it. Okay, pay attention to the darkness. Pay attention to the way the little clouds like this give a shadow effect like this. Okay, and like this. Look at all these shadow effects that's happening in the sky. Okay, from this little tiny cloud. You believe a little tiny cloud like that would create a shadow ray across the sky like that? No, I don't think so. Okay, I mean, look at that, and so you can see the mist look just in that particular spot. I paused. You can start just making shit out, literally. Excuse my language. Okay, no, but last, before I let you guys go, I want you guys to pay attention to the bluish white color. I say that because it reminds me of, an angel feel, like just a real soft, at ease color. It just makes the heart feel good, kind of a deal. When you see that color, and it stands out. It really does. I want everybody to leave comments if there's something I can do differently, or maybe you guys need something explained differently. Please let me know. I don't speak well. I'm not meant to speak, I don't believe. I'm just meant to do the footage. Anything that you guys, any questions you guys have, any concerns, please let me know. I'm starting to drop the camera now and go really delve into my older work because of what I've seen here in the last couple of days. It's really pointless for me to go out and do this now. So any questions, okay? Any concerns? You guys be safe, and I'll still work hard for you guys. I love every single one of you guys, man. Much love. October 26th, 2013. Much love. Music player out. This is because, this massive object that's entangled into this is hitting, thousands of things at this time. Thousands of things. And it's creating that dust forming around the objects that it's hitting, of course, okay? Now, you can see here, you can see a moon. If you think left to right, right to left, you're going to have several objects come into play. This here on the right is actually moving left, and this on the left is actually going right. You can see from this area to this area here, it's actually closing into each other. Okay. Now I'm already 4 minutes into this video, so there's not too much more that you'll see. I will follow a planetary body, a moon per se, because I don't know what's planets, what's moons. I'm just going on size. The three primary planets that I viewed on the 24th and 25th, and assuming I'm going to go out today and see it again, it should be in the same area, which is about 60 degrees off from the sun. If you look out about noontime and you look at the sun, you'll notice that it's falling in to the southeastern sky, okay, which is accurate on the time of the season. So you'll turn around once you see this. You're looking at the sun. Of course, don't do that. Cover your eyes. You hurt your sight with that. But shield yourself, and then turn around and count 60 degrees. Good morning, YouTube. This video was taken on the 25th, which was yesterday. Today's the 26th of October. It was taken on the 25th of October, about noontime or so. I was sitting in my hay barn, trying to get away from the glare of the sun on the monitor so I could see what I was looking at. Now I've changed the color. I've turned the contrast up a bit, turned the brightness down, of course. That way you could see the movements of the so-called chemtrail, if you want to call it that. I'm going to go ahead and just call it oxide dust, because that's what it is. Now here you can see a planet, okay, and then you can see the oxide dust swirl around the planet, and these are little moon areas, okay. They're basically everywhere. If you see the little the little shadowy circles, those are little tiny moons. This is a bigger moon. This is a huge moon here, okay. Now what I've observed is the planets, they literally go from big to small, okay. I mean, literally in that size. You know, this system's been traveling for thousands and thousands of years. So everything is in order, per se, you know, to the system. You know, so we'll do the black craters in them. I mean, and I don't want to say crater, because, you know, a crater is, you know, meant to be a mark, a hole into the planet. These are massive moons. So you can see this large planetary object right here. Okay, it's large. I mean, this thing is large. You know, but these are, I mean, what it looked like to me were rocks, large boulders thrown into the planet and stuck there. You know, so they'd be it'd be pointy. You know, like if you were to look into the ocean and, you know, look at a rock that has, you know, the algae and the fungus grown on it, okay, it would look, these planets would resemble something as to that. You know, so now, you know, these planets, they come in and out. I mean, it seems strange, but you'll make a complete planet out full 1 second, you know, and then before you know it, there is another one in front of it, or another one behind it, or, you know, I mean, it literally is, you know, it changes constantly, okay. Now, as far as the planets, the 3 large planets that I observed on the 24th and 25th, and I'm assuming I'll go out today and I'll see it here in about a half hour, as if you follow what I said, you'll find it as well. To start from there, this right here is a planet, okay. Of course, you can see the oxide dust. You can see this right here, it makes a V sort of. Okay, now there's planets that are traveling inside this. That's their planet, their travel area, and this is their travel area as well in this particular scene here. You can see, you know, a making of a large planet body here, with the little moons here, okay. And I'm hoping you guys can see this a little bit clearer than what I could, it being, you know, the regular pixel, because it was just really bright yesterday, you know, which made the screen, when I recorded it, really you know, it seemed like the contrast was low, and the brightness was just fairly high. So, okay, now you can see almost like a tornado vortex here, okay, right here. Now these are the planets, of course, on top, little moons, or however you're saying it, are swirling around this area. Here's a moon, here's a bigger moon, here's another moon that's coming into view. Okay, they're everywhere. There's a moon here, a little tiny one, here's another one. Now these, a bigger moon here, okay. These are small moons here, and they're actually traveling from left to right. Now what I've observed with this system since I've been recording it, is you know, it's half and half. Half moves left and half moves right, literally. Um, you know, the blurish, you know, like this right here, you see this white area here, towards due west, and you're going to run right into the system. I mean, it's there. This system is definitely upon us at this moment in time. Everything, you know, if you go outside and you don't see a lot of chem spraying, thin line, real pencil thin lines going across the sky, then start looking, because, you know, for a long time I believed the thick dust particles that flew across the sky, I thought it was the government for a long time, until I noticed, you know, at one particular moment, you know, that thick dust, there was nothing there in front of it to make it. And if you really just, you know, pay attention, you see this large planet right here, large planet, and you can see the little moons right here. Okay, you can see a bigger moon right here. Okay, now they're actually going to start appearing, and I don't mean to get off subject, but I want to show you this, okay? They're going to actually start appearing. See, there's going to be one right here. There's going to be a bigger one right here that's going to appear. Okay, and I mean, there's one right here that's starting to appear itself. If the focus will come into play. Okay, and there's several moons right here. Okay, several. And there's little tiny ones here, you know, little bigger ones here. Okay, now there's a large one here. Okay, now I say large, you know, and I don't use massive because, you know, the massive ones that I've seen, you can see the crater rocks on top of them, and they're black. I mean, they are rocks that are embedded into these planets, and they're all over the primary planets that I observed. You know, basically just like this here. See this huge area right here, you can see